Hello kennbugs, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell down below so you're notified every time I post a video. Become a kennbug, because what are you doing? And without further ado, we can hop right into this Q&A. So as you all know, I am in the military. Just joined. I've recently been putting out a couple of videos pertaining to my career shift, and you guys have been asking a lot of questions. So this video is really just to bring all the questions together and answer them here, so that way if someone has the same question, similar question as you, you can be directed straight to this video. You won't have to go soul searching to find the answer. This is going to encompass all of the questions that I've been asked, all the questions that were asked on my Instagram and on my Instagram. The questions that were asked on there will be brought into this video. If you do have additional questions, and I tried to get all the questions that I was asked from the time that I put in my application to the time that I went to OCS, to the time I commissioned to here I am now. I'm going to try to put all those questions into this video. If I missed your question, please don't hesitate to comment down below. If you're thinking about becoming an officer in the military, if you're thinking about joining the military, just in general, this is the video for you. Specifically for the Navy, this video is definitely for you. And I'm going to kind of give you guys my experience that I've had so far while being an officer in the military. So let's get to it. So I have my notes here that I took down. I just wrote down as many questions as I gathered. I did have some answered on Instagram, so I'm probably gonna shoot those out first, and then I'm gonna get into the questions that I was asked like periodically throughout my time in terms of like answering your questions. Won't apply to everybody. In terms of the pipeline for other people, I'm not quite sure about that. I do know about my pipeline, which is Surface Warfare Officer. So just keep that in mind while I'm answering these questions. Everything won't pertain to you, so just take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Are you a first lieutenant? I was a BM2. I am not a first lieutenant. I really should know this. Technically, if you're speaking on like the Air Force Army ranks, I'm technically a second lieutenant. Because I'm in the Navy, we are recognized as something different. In terms of rank, I'm an ensign. If you were comparing me to like another branch, it would be like a second lieutenant. How was officer boot camp? And how were the phases broken down? Okay, so officer boot camp was a humbling experience. It was a learning experience. Anyone that's about to go in there, brace yourself for uncertainty. There's a lot of things you're gonna be learning there. Soak everything in, be a sponge. You know, try to keep your head leveled. And always keep a positive attitude. Your positive attitude can go a long way. Be eager to learn. Is what I have to say about that. Be eager to learn and be positive. It was broken down into 4 phases: indoctrination phase, junior officer phase, senior officer phase, and then candidate officer phase. Indoc phase being militarized and things like that. Jock phase, junior officer phase, is where you're getting into the thick of things in terms of academics, history, engineering, division officer course. Your most physical phase will be your indoctrination phase. Senior officer phase is when you get into the thick of, you know, learning your weapon systems, getting really good with maneuvering boards, knowing your weapon systems, your ship types, all that stuff. That is the most intense phase, I would say, to make sure you prioritize your time. And candidate officer phase is, you know, where you're applying everything that you learn from indoc phase and all the other phases, and, you know, running a squadron. You're basically being in charge of the indocs, the jocks, and the socks while you're there. And then you graduate. I will give you guys a plug for that. Just keep watching the video. What is some fitness preparation for OCS? I would say to make sure you're doing a lot of HIIT workouts. First of all, make sure you can pass the bare minimum. Make sure you can pass the PRT. The push-ups, that's the plank, and that's the 1.5 mile run. There are standards. You can look those up online. All you need to do is put in PRT standards in Google and you can find it. If not, I'll probably put all my links that I'm saying to you guys in the description box. So if it's not in there, just Google it like I said, okay? Just make sure you know how to do a push-up. That's the first step, because baby, they kill your arms, okay? Just look up a lot of HIIT workouts to do. A lot of people think all they have to do is just do the bare minimum with the PRT, which is the bare minimum. Okay, if you struggle with that, you need to start ahead of time. If you already got your OCS date, you're gonna be struggling if you can't do the bare minimum of the PRT. That's just bottom line. Everyone that I've seen struggle with the PRT struggle with everything else. So just make sure that you're prepared for that. Like the evolutions that happen in terms of like your fitness and indoctrination phase with the evolutions that you have to do is primarily HIIT workouts. Tips on studying for the OAR. What I did for the OAR, I'm just telling you guys what I did. You don't have to follow me. I actually got the OAR test prep, the newest version. I think it was like what, 2022, 2021? And I used that booklet to literally like study. And then I also used, because there's a mechanical part on the OAR, I looked up mechanical test practice, and that's what I did. Like I even had to buy some, but a lot of people said they use Reddit. From what I gathered while I was at OCS, a lot of people use Reddit. I would recommend those resources. There's a mechanical, reading comprehension, and math section. The math section doesn't go above algebra level, which if I can, I will link it when I got off Amazon, and I'll link it in my Amazon storefront. So if you need one, go cop it. What made you decide to commission, and did you go the ROTC route? I did not go ROTC route. I went OCS route, straight out of OCS. So I kind of did like a whole backstory on my original video where I tell you guys that I got accepted to go to OCS to be a commissioned officer. It was a combination of me having post-grad depression, not really doing anything meaningful with my life. I wanted to do something meaningful and impactful. I wanted to have a profession. I wanted to have a career that I could be proud of and look back on my life and be like, yeah, okay, I did something meaningful with my life. Granted, you can work any job and have an impact on people, but like, I just felt like the things that I was doing was just not setting me up for success. It wasn't setting me up for where I wanted to be in life, which where I want to be in life is opening up my own nonprofit, and I want to be able to have resources and funds in order to do that. Also because, I don't know, I kind of felt like, you know, I was a single one out. Both of my brothers are in the military. My dad was a retired chief, so I was like, I feel kind of left out that I'm the only one that hasn't been in the military. So I was like, kind of an option. Did you always want to go to the military? What's the pros and cons of being in the military? I did not always want to go to the military. I actually told myself that I would never go to the military. I just was like, nah, I don't want that life. I felt like it had great resources. It gives you plenty of benefits, things for a lifetime, really, you know, if you want it to be. I did not know another option for me to go and get my master's debt free. So that's kind of where I was at with it. In terms of looking at it my junior year, I kind of was like, okay, Kennedy, what are you going to do to set yourself up for success? Like optimize, you know, resources and benefits to help me in the long run. And that's kind of where I was at with it. If you're not in a direction of where you want to be in a year after you graduate, then you're going to join the military. And that's what I said. I said, I'm going to give myself a year. And if I'm not where I, like, even in the direction of, not even where I want to be, because that's just unrealistic, but if I'm not heading in the direction where I want to be a year after I graduate, get your tail to that recruiting offices. Okay, that's kind of where I was at with it. A person, like, if I'm not getting somewhere, I need to change that. I need to change that pattern, okay? If I'm not happy in a certain situation, if I'm not happy in the direction I'm taking, I'm going to change it. And that's exactly what I did. And here we are now in the military, right? One, the friendships that I made while being in the military is just top tier. Two, okay, traveling the world, literally like being able to just pick up and like I'm living in a whole new state now. Like it's amazing. The benefits and just like it's setting me up to where I want to eventually where I want to be in life is another pro. I would think maybe like, especially when like deployments are going to be long, I feel like that's kind of going to be, you know, a con. You can always, you know, change your direction in the military. So you don't always have to stick to that one thing. Definitely it's going to be, you know, the times away from family. It's the military, so you can kind of think of the cons. You kind of line it up with like all the things that the military has to offer. It kind of balances out, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about that in like another 6 months. Tips on personal statements. So that is part of your officer package that you have to submit in order to get accepted into officer candidate school. And so some of my tips that I want to share with you guys in terms of your personal statement is to be personable. Like, what motivates you, what skills do you possess that characterize you as a good leader? What qualities do you display that make you adaptable? What examples do you have to show that you're a team player? And I'm just kind of giving you guys some things to think about while you're writing your personal statement. If you guys do want an example of my personal statement, I'm happy to give it to you. Just DM me, email me, things like that. I'll be happy to share it with you. So what is all those things, all those characteristics that you have, all those skills that you have, how does that apply to your position as an officer and as your designator, whatever you apply for? How can that be applied to your position, and how does that benefit the military? To basically exaggerate how this position is the only thing you've ever wanted to do in your life, how this can be a life-altering experience for you, and how you're so excited and ecstatic about being a part of the military, things like that. You have to show them that you really want to be in the military, and not only that, but what can you bring to the table, and what can the military offer you in return as well. So someone asked me, do you go to OCS after basic training? OCS is the basic training. So how the process goes is that you go to a recruiter, you tell them, hey, I want to be an officer in the military. Do you have the qualifications to be an officer in the military? Then they're going to give you a whole package that you have to complete. A lot of tasks that you have to complete in order to submit it. That means MEPS, going to MEPS, getting your medical screening, your psychological screening. You have to write a personal statement, which is the tips I gave you guys. You have to pass the OAR, which is the officer aptitude rating, is what I think it is. That's the test that I was referring to, if you guys weren't following what I was saying. That is a test that you have to take to basically, like, okay, are you competent enough, have the knowledge, even though you went through college. Recommendation letters, you have to get those, sorted out and things like that. Those are the kind of things that you have to, have in your package, which doesn't seem like a lot, but baby, And then once you get all that, you submit your package, you submit it to your recruiter takes it to the board, and the board decides whether or not they want to accept you into whatever designator that you chose to go into. It may differ depending on what designator you're in, which is why I say that I don't know how the process goes for everyone else. All I know is I know how it goes for SWOs. I didn't have to do an interview. A lot of people ask me that I didn't have to do an interview. I don't know where that comes from, but I didn't have to do an interview. I'm not sure how that goes for everybody else, but I didn't have to do an interview to be a SWO. My personal statement was my interview. Then you get accepted, or you don't get accepted, and you try again, or you get prepared to go to OCS, and they give you a whole welcome letter. They make you do a PRT before you go, make sure that you are physically fit and can actually accomplish the tasks that they give you. And then you go to OCS, which is your basic training. You stay there for 12 weeks, then you commission as an officer, and then you go to BDOC, you go to OD Phase 1, and then you report to your ship. That is kind of how the SWO pipeline goes, as far as I know. Someone asked me, what was your GPA when you applied to be an officer? You also have to submit your transcripts as well when you apply to be an officer. But yeah, my GPA was 3.2. Yep. Can you receive a OAR test waiver if you got low scores on all 3 attempts? What they will tell you before you take your OAR is that you get 3 attempts in your lifetime for the OAR, and that is it. And so yes, you can get an OAR test waiver if you don't make the minimum scoring. It does kind of make you less competitive, so keep that in mind. But that's why you need to be extra careful and make sure you study. But yeah, you can get an OAR test waiver, but it does make you less competitive. But the OAR is not, that's it for you, okay? It's not like the final straw, okay? They look at a lot of other things. You do want to make sure that you have good standings in all areas, so that way you don't have any question that you will or won't be accepted. What is the link for the website if you want more information. For the website, I'll link that down in the description box. So just go down to my description box and I'll link the OCS website if you guys want to get more information on that. Any helpful links or videos that you use before going to OCS. There was this podcast that I listened to, and it was this girl that she had just commissioned out of OCS, and she made a whole podcast on every single phase. So I will link her Spotify down in the description box. Make sure you guys check that out. If you have already been accepted into OCS, or if you know you're thinking about going to OCS and things like that, or you're thinking about being an officer, just listen to that anyway. It helps you be more mentally prepared for it, know what to expect, things like that. She goes into great detail, which, you know, I listened to that podcast like twice before I went in. So yeah, definitely go give that podcast a listen, because it definitely helped me out before I went to OCS, and I think it probably will help you guys out 9 times out of 10 too. Do you have any tips or recommendations for packing for OCS? I do. Let me pull it out. Here are some things that I would say is some good recommendations to pack for OCS. Bring all important paperwork. So when you get accepted into the OCS program, it's going to be a lot of paperwork that you have to fill out, and things for meds that you just did, all your medical stuff, all your psychological evaluations, things like that. You're going to want to keep track of all that stuff with your recruiter. Make sure you have that paperwork. Recommend that you print it out if he sends it to you or she sends it to you, you know. But get that paperwork because you're going to need it. If you got money to spend, I would recommend an electric lint roller. Ninja Star. Look up what a Ninja Star is. It's basically just like a measuring tool that you can use. You're definitely going to need it in jock phase, so definitely, I would definitely recommend it. And at least 2 or 3 pairs of civilian clothes, to pack while you're going to OCS, because you're not going to need them really after those first couple of days. Money, so just in case your pay isn't correlating or it isn't coming over like it's supposed to, because you do all your paperwork for your pay and stuff like that first week, but some people have issues, so just make sure you have extra money just in case you have bills, things like that you need to pay. Just make sure you have extra money. Blanket and a pillowcase. Bring a flashlight, preferably like a small one or one that you put on your head, because you're gonna need it for those inspections. Just thank me later, okay? Bring a flashlight. Fox River socks, a little gym. Double your socks up when you get your combat boots. Double them socks up. I'm gonna let y'all know now. You get to OCS and you forget to double sock up, you can remember this video. And if you don't double sock up, make sure you get some blister stickies, because you're gonna need them. And then living essentials like bath soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, you know, the basics, lotion. I brought family size everything. Because baby, I wasn't gonna be without. There is a next there, but I was like, not trying to spend unnecessary money. If you go in the winter months, make sure you bring thermals, blow dryer. Make sure you bring stamps before you check in. Okay, go to the next. You're gonna need phone cards. Like I told you guys, you don't need to call that first 3 weeks, but once you start junior officer phase, okay, you're allowed to call home, and you're gonna need phone cards to use the phones there. Get those phone cards. They're like blue, red, and white. They're usually right there at the checkout at the next. You'll know what the checkout is. It's like where all the gift cards and stuff are at. It's at the very bottom. The time you gonna need them, they're gonna be sold out, and you're gonna be looking like, dang, yeah, Kennedy did tell me to get them phone cards. I'm like, yeah, I did. And then a swim cap for my girlies. Okay. Get you a swim cap. Save your life. Do you need professional experience in order to apply? No, you don't need professional experience. I wouldn't per se makes you less competitive, but it's kind of hard with like talking points unless you've had like some leadership, you know, leadership opportunities while you were in college or something like that. Before college, just it gives you talking points, you know, when you're talking in your personal statement, things that you have to offer, things that you've already experienced, things that you already have skills from. So yeah, I would just say to just be mindful of that. A lot of people were having some concerns in terms of like uncertainty with joining the military and not having any freedom, and some of their family not being as supportive. I'm not gonna say that you won't have free time, but if you plan to go the slow route, just be prepared for those first 2 years to be limited free time because of underways, deployment. But if you aren't on underway and deployment, literally it's like a regular 9 to 5 job. A lot of people get discouraged when they think about the military or think about joining the military because they're just like, they have these misconceptions about the military. But if we're not talking about the underways and deployments, it's literally like a regular 9 to 5. You know, like it's a regular 9 to 5. If you're the type of person that wants to go see the world and you want to do meaningful work, then the military is for you. This profession is really rewarding and it has a lot of opportunities and benefits. And I think that when you think about all that and all that it includes, it's definitely worth it in my eyes. It could be different for you. I do want to comment that I'm not saying my family wasn't supportive of me, but I do want to say they were highly discouraging me from going into the military. So if people are having the same experience that I had, a lot of my family members were like discouraging me from going, not because, you know, they didn't want me to pursue my dreams, but, you know, there's a lot that comes with the military, and there's, you know, a risk that comes with this profession. I mean, I don't really have to say it. It's just the military, you know. So once I commissioned and I actually like put forth all my energy to, you know, wanting to pursue this profession, a lot of my family members started to come around and they were very proud of me. So if anyone is feeling discouraged or feeling uncertain because, you know, family members, friends are kind of questioning, you know, like, do you really want to do this? Like, you know, that comes with the military, right? You know, like things like that. Don't let uncertainty deter you from pursuing your dreams. Okay, if this is something you really want to do, go after it. Like, don't let uncertainty deter you from, you know, accomplishing what you want to accomplish in this life, honey, because the life don't wait for nobody. Just think heavily on what you want. Don't let anybody else get in your head. Like, your decision should be solely based on your decisions and your thoughts. Don't be including other people's opinions in that decision. Okay, and that's with anything in life. All right, and that's the TED Talk for today. Okay, that is all the questions that I had. I dug everything that I could dig. Okay, if you guys do have more questions, please let me know. Comment down in the comment box. You gotta email me, baby. It's in the description box. Okay, that being said, that is all that I had, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. I hope I answered any other questions that you have. All right, kennbugs, I'll see you guys in another video very, very soon. Peace, girl.